Welcome to Thought Leaders, featuring interviews with some of the best minds in the industry. Today's special guest is popular platform speaker and trial lawyer, Ilya Lerma. Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and talk show host. In this segment, we're talking about how to promote your area of expertise in the public domain and how it might come back to hurt you in litigation. All from Ilya's best practices taken from her popular keynote addresses and seminars. Well, Ilya, there's a lot of traffic out on LinkedIn, I have to say, and I mean a lot. I'm not talking a little. Most broker-dealers will not allow you to have somebody else say that you're an expert in the third-party domain like LinkedIn. But everybody else seems to be, I'm an expert in this, I'm an expert in that. And when you don't challenge it, take it down, because you have the ability to clean up your own site, you are out there saying, well, here's my general practice, but here's my area of forte. Here's my expertise. And they're saying it. And oh my gosh, if you hold yourself out to be an expert and we're heading for arbitration, the standard is going to be lifted a lot higher than a general practitioner. So talk about that. Should we be talking like this?
Well, a lot of it depends on whether or not you're Muhammad Ali. You know, a lot of people had big problems with Muhammad Ali, but the man could back it up. You know, he was a fierce fighter in the ring. So are you going to be able to be that expert? Are you going to be Muhammad Ali in the ring? And that's really what it comes down to. If you're holding yourself as an expert, as someone with specialized expertise in one particular field, and you blew it, who's going to be judging that conduct? And it's going to look really bad on you if you're holding yourself out as this $1 million producer and you've got, again, all the accolades, the inner circle awards, and you have failed this one particular client. It's going to look even more, it's going to reflect more poorly on you because you've held yourself out and really just let this client down.
I'm trying to figure out the middle ground where I can promote my practice, promote areas that I am well versed in, but without putting some tag that will come later to bite me if I get a client that just is out to just take me out. You know, because I'm thinking about the LinkedIn bios that are out there. I know I'm going to say easily 50, 60 bios out there that are predicated. The reason they're getting traffic is predicated on the way they're framing how they talk about themselves in their area of expertise.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with that framing, but again, you have to be able to bring the expertise behind that. If you're comfortable with what it is that you're putting out there and somebody cross-examining you on, are these your credentials? Are these things that you're telling the public? If you're comfortable being cross-examined on those, by all means, put them out there. But if, again, I've examined insurance agents in the context of a deposition where I've been asking them, well, have you been selling this product for 20 years? Don't you have on your door, you know, excellence and expertise? You have it on your business card, you know, and they're saying yes to all these questions. And when I'm asking them, well, we talked about the loss of consortium questions earlier, does this cover loss of consortium? You don't know that question? You're holding yourself out as an expert and you don't know the answer to that question? That discrepancy is a meaningful one. And so you want to make sure you don't get caught in that trap. There's nothing wrong with being an expert, and you should absolutely be able to put your best foot forward. But understand that being out in the public domain, people are going to have an image and a persona and a construct of who you are and the information you should be providing. And if that's not being met on the client delivery end, you better expect you're going to have some problems.
Well, I'm thinking of one of our highly vaulted certifications, and it's one that everybody accepts across the financial community, which is Certified Financial Planner, CFP. And it's trademarked. And you took courses to gain that trademark and certification. And so there's a standard now that you trained for, that you licensed for. And so when I think of CFP, and the Certified Financial Planning market has been advertising on television, right? You should choose not just any advisor, an advisor that has a CFP. Now the standard the bar has went way up, because now if you say, you're sitting there going, I didn't know this, all right, well, didn't you take the course? Didn't you get the certification? Don't you take continuing education to keep and maintain your Certified Financial Planner certification? I mean, this is where this is all going.
Well, and this is what you have to understand in the context of litigation, whether it's an arbitration or trial, that the standard, if you're holding yourself out as an expert, the standard isn't the general practitioner. The standard is the expert in this field. So are you comporting yourself as a reasonable and prudent expert in the field? And you're right, the standard does go higher. And with all of those individual certifications, every time you have another level of education that you're holding yourself out to the public as being able to rely that you have this education and training, you have this expertise, your bar is going to go higher and higher. So those letters at the end of your name may be meaningful to your pocket, but they also better be meaningful to your standard of practice.
Yeah, and the way you just framed that, we've never looked at high vaulted certifications like the CFP and others. They're really good to have. They're wonderful, but at the same time, you've trained, you've been educated for it, you're taking ongoing continuing education now. All of a sudden, the standards are going to be a lot higher.
Well, and again, you have to turn it around and look at who the consumer is. And your client is going to be looking and comparing and vetting people to put their trust and confidence in. And they picked you. They picked you because you held yourself out as an expert. They picked you because you had more initials after your name than the other guy. And so you're getting business as a result of holding yourself out that way. You're getting additional business as saying, I'm $1 million producer. And you're drawing in consumers. It's not correct to then say when you get sued, hey, I'm just an average Joe, because you're not. You've been building a reputation and a business based upon all of that expertise. So you better be the Muhammad Ali in the ring.
Time to walk humbly. For more information on how to protect your practice in the public domain, just click on the landing page address in the video description. We'll be right back with more from Ilya Lirma.
This is your website. Few people visit, and if it isn't attracting new visitors, it's not doing its job. Now you can drive more visitors to your website through dynamic content and email marketing with CreativeOne's Social Media Elite. Capture quality leads faster and easier. Engage your visitors with informative articles and videos to boost your online credibility. Plus, stay connected with existing clients and earn more referrals. All content is customized for you. It's time to introduce your website to the world. Call your CreativeOne sales team at 800-992-2642 or visit us online at creativeone.com.
In this segment, we're talking about holding out others on your team as experts, and it could make you liable with client referrals, all from Ilya's best practices taken from our popular keynote addresses and seminars. Well, Ilya, I'm thinking about, sometimes we hold ourselves out as the quarterback, the CFO of our client. Now we're bringing other people into our team. If I'm quarterbacking it, I actually recruited this person. Maybe he's a money manager. I recruited this person over here to take care of the property casualty. All of a sudden, how did my client get in front of these people? I'm the reason they got in front of these people. Am I in the litigation line here if something goes south by one of my subcontractors?
Well, absolutely, because your endorsement of that individual brings in the business. And so again, this sort of dovetails into exactly what we were speaking about in the prior segment, and that is the perspective from the consumer and what it is that they're looking at when they're looking to find a person as someone to place their confidence with. They're looking to you. They may get placed with this individual, but they've got your seal of approval. You're covering these people like an umbrella and saying, hey, based on my training and expertise, I'm endorsing these individuals. These people have my seal of approval, and that puts you in a direct line of sight if something goes wrong.
I'm thinking of a recent case that I looked at of people that we actually know who recommended a person. They did not themselves go out to check broker check. This guy had several little bad boy issues in his resume. Never knew that, didn't check it, but he seemed to be very good at his area of expertise. I'm not saying he wasn't, but they didn't do the proper background check. Brought him on the team. Something went south with the client's relationship. They went after not only this person that they didn't vet, apparently, but they went after him because he made the recommendation. And even though they told him that was in his area of expertise, you said that he was an expert in that area. And that exposure is so huge that this person's going to lose their practice over it.
Well, absolutely, because that conduct is not only careless, it's reckless. It's an absolute reckless disregard for the safety of the people who come in your door to be your consumers. And when you endorse someone and you don't do any kind of background check, you do nothing to vet their professional credentials. You do nothing to examine how it is that they're handling client monies, especially an initial period of supervision. You're not doing any of that. You're just handing over sensitive and valuable client information that's going to be impacted for years into the future to someone you haven't looked into. You're just taking their word for it on paper. We all know horror stories happen, and they can happen to you, and you have to be prepared to deal with those by having vetting policies and procedures in place and having supervisory authority over those people until you feel that you can slowly turn over more and greater responsibilities, till they earn that place that has your name on the door, or your endorsement on the team.
Unfortunately, we have found many times that our errors and omissions doesn't cover our referral practices, bringing another fiduciary in to take an area where we're not really well versed in an area of expertise that they are, and that we didn't do the proper vetting, we didn't go through the screening, and the liability now is the complete dump truck of liability is backing up into our door, and we're getting all of this. So this is a new area of exposure that we're seeing happening because people do want to work on teams. I can't be an expert in everything. So I'm trying to diversify my practice. I'm trying to decentralize myself, right? But now all of a sudden I have to before I make a recommendation, I have to do some serious vetting and walk through this guy's personal practice. And it's not, and by the way, here's another one, I want you to address, this is where my question was going. Then we have a referred lead where the actual part of his expertise is not in question, but he has personal issues that now enter into my client, i.e., all of a sudden he decides that he wants to see if he can date my client. We crossed over. Now all of a sudden we're into practices of am I responsible for his personal behavior and his maybe not going according to my HR, my human resources documents on engagements with other people of the other gender?
Well, and that's probably going back to something that we discussed in the earlier segments regarding engagement letters and letting your client know exactly who is on your team and who you're responsible for. And if you make an outside referral, it would be important, that would be one of those substantive conversations that you would want to document, that I am referring this individual and perhaps 2 or 3 others for you to consult with. And please know that this is not my area of expertise. I encourage you to speak with somebody who has expertise in this arena, and wish you luck in your future dealings with these individuals who I might recommend. That provides a layer of insulation between you and possible litigation, let's say. Is it going to be 100%? Probably not. But if you've made the steps to protect yourself and let your client know, look, this is outside my scope. This is not something I really know.
Outside the scope. What I'm talking about, this specific, and I kind of understand what you're saying there, and I appreciate that. But Elia, I'm asking, this is the tougher question. The person harassed my client. See, this has nothing to do with their expertise. They were expert in their expertise. They would just cross the line on a personal matter. All of a sudden, that now becomes my problem. I'm talking about a case that we're looking at where they're saying, hey, you recommended this person. I didn't know this guy was this kind of person. Am I in the food chain of litigation here?
You may be. To me as a practitioner, I would look at that as maybe a broken link in the chain, unless perhaps you had advanced knowledge of that. If there had been other clients who maybe complained to you that previously, I got some funny feelings about this person, I wasn't comfortable with them, I thought they comported themselves unprofessionally. If you've got some knowledge and you haven't done anything to back it up and you're continuing to refer people to that person, then I'd say you're in the direct line of fire. But if it's something completely out of the blue, you'd have no reason to know, then I would say you're probably outside the chain, unless it might have been something you could have discovered through reasonable diligence. Could you do a quick search on your government county records to see if there's any litigation, sexual harassment litigation that's ever been filed against this person? I mean, one of the standard things that people do when trying to find physicians, for example, is they may look up on county websites how many times a particular practitioner has been sued, and that gives them at least some idea of the conduct of that physician. Again, that's not the be-all, end-all, but it's a point of investigation that you have at your fingertips. And if you're sending a lot of people, it's worth your while to spend a little time investigating their background.
Well, of course, on the key thing you said, prior knowledge, then you're dead.
Right.
I think you've got really problems.
Right.
And by the way, we're just expanding our exposure. We're talking about real life. we're in 2015. This is when it's happening. Listen, for more information on how to protect your practice from your team members in lawsuit referrals, just click on the landing page address in the video description. And for more information on all our shows, seminars, and workshops, just follow us out on social media or visit us out on our website. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you next time on Thought Leaders, and remember, keep thinking outside the box.